There's a saying that says your life is only as good as your nervous system. You'll either get that quote or you won't. And by the end of this episode, you will. Ways that you know your nervous system is off, and I'm just going to give a few examples, is if you're on holiday and you're constantly checking your phone and you can't chill out, or if you're snapping at people for no reason, or if you're sat somewhere really stunning and really pretty and you're just in a stinking mood. That is signs that your nervous system is not chilled, that you're in fight or flight. So that's what we're going to be digging into today. And with that being said, welcome to Beauty on the Inside podcast. So I wanted to do this podcast episode today, and disclaimer, I'm not a professional. This is just my own experiences and what's helped me in my mental health journey and life in general. And I just want to share that with you guys. So if you do have any anxious thoughts, or if you have any signs of depression, if you have anything that you're struggling with, please go to a GP. But hopefully these podcasts just give you a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on in your brain, and that's all I hope. So anyway, I wanted to do this podcast episode because it must be longer than that, like I had brown hair, so like 4 or 5 years ago, I remember being on holiday with my family, and I think we were in we were by a beach, we were on a beach, and I had my dog Scoobs at the time, and if you're a long-term follower, you know Scoobs passed away, bless him. He was only 2 and he had cancer. It was awful. And I was sat on the beach, and all my family had gone off. They'd gone to like get sweets or something. And I was sat on the beach, and like the weather was perfect and the beach was quiet and there was all dogs running around, and it was blue skies. It was honestly perfect. And I felt rubbish. I felt fuming that like I just couldn't feel happy. I just didn't feel happy. And I was like, look around you. Like, you sat on the beach and like it's a perfect day and all your family's happy and healthy, and you feel so shit and so low and like snappy and moody. And I was just like, what is this? I felt so sad. I think I even Googled it because I was just like, what is this? Like, SOS, like why do I feel like this? And like, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. Why am I feeling so low? I just felt sad because you've all sat on a beach, or you've all sat somewhere and you have that feeling inside you and you think, oh my God, I'm so happy right now. And I just could not get that feeling. And it was just really, really getting me down. And I was like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Also, I had my first hater the other day, guys. I had a hater on TikTok, and I don't really read comments, like, especially when it comes to makeup and stuff. People say horrible things about me all the time, but when it comes to this podcast, I think it's different because it's so personal. So like, I'm speaking about something and it's been clipped on TikTok, and there's people in the comments like, what, like working in Costa was the worst time of your life and da. No. I'm using that as an example. Best believe that wasn't the worst time of my life, but it was just a place where I didn't enjoy my life. And I'm allowed to say that. Like, I don't have to have like someone dieting or something happening that's really bad for me to not enjoy my life. Do you know what I mean? I was just living groundhog. Anyway, I don't know why I'm explaining myself to trolls. I've never done that before, and I'm not starting now, but I just wanted you to know that I had my first troll. He was fit. I'm joking. So yeah, this happened to me, and it was horrible, and I hated it. And it's not the first time. I just vividly remember that situation and that happening. Oh my God. I didn't search it at the time because I was scared. I was scared that there was something wrong with me, and I was scared that I was going to have to go to the doctors because I thought I had #depression, because why would I feel so low in such a nice moment? So I was scared, so I didn't look into it. But I think a few weeks later or something, I came across a podcast. Like, don't you love it when that happens? Like when you just come across a podcast and it like tells you everything you need to hear. And it was basically about how your life or your experiences are only as good as your nervous system. So it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Mexico sipping a margarita on the beach, but if your nervous system is not right, there's no point in you being there, because there is obviously point in you being there, but unless your nervous system is fine, you're not fine. Doesn't matter where you are, your experience will only be as good as your nervous system is. So I'm going to walk you through why this happens. I'm going to walk you through how to recognize when this is happening, and I'm also going to walk you through what you can do about it and how to get out of this funk where you think, well, everything that I've just spoken about. So your nervous system has different states. So you've probably heard about like fight or flight, or obviously being calm and being happy and joyful and accepting. There's a few ways that you can tell if your nervous system is off. Rolo, shut it, please. Does anyone else have a dash hound and they just don't shut the fuck up? Like, I saw a TikTok the other day and it was like, I've never met a dash hound that isn't a prick. And do you know what? Yeah, you're completely right. And he's my favourite prick. He's the best prick that's ever happened to me. But they just don't shut up. They're so loud and so yappy. Sorry, tangent. Okay. So say your nervous system has 3 different states to it. So it has calm and safe, which equals happiness and dopamine and just feeling light and feeling excited and being present in the moment. Then you have fight or flight, which is what I was in that situation back then, and I didn't know it. So fight or flight means that you're snappy, you feel anxious, you feel sad, you feel like you can't control what's going on in your brain. So that's flight or flight. And then there is freeze and shut down mode, which is basically like where you'd procrastinate, where you'd self-sabotage, where you lock yourself in a room and you don't want to speak to anyone. You just feel numb and you feel disconnected to the whole world. So those are the 3 states that our nervous system can be in. And if your body doesn't feel safe, your mind will not let you relax. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you don't get that in alignment and get control over your nervous system, then you can't relax and you can't fully enjoy or be present in the moment. So some of the examples of knowing that your nervous system is not in a good way is if you're, when you're on holiday and like, when you're a kid and you're on holiday and you're constantly like checking to see if your boyfriend at the time has texted you, or you feel like you can't fully relax on holiday, or if you're snapping at people for no reason, if you're feeling meh even when things are good, or if you're constantly in your head instead of living in the moment. Like if you're not in the moment and you're in your brain, then that's a clear example of your nervous system not being on top form. Why does this happen? So stress, work, relationship, other people can really play a big impact on your nervous system. And the good thing about that is you can control how much you want to take that on board. So for example, I know someone who works in a really, really stressful job and she just comes home and just doesn't care. Like, she deals with it when she's in work, but then when she comes home, she's like, she doesn't care. She just doesn't speak about it. She's not bothered at all. And then when she goes back into work, she'll be stressed then. But like when she comes home, she chooses not to care, which I think is so powerful. And she just decides that I'll deal with that tomorrow when I'm in work. But right now, I'm not in work and I'll have a glass of wine in the pub instead. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking go, bitch. So stress, relationships, work pressure, financial can be a huge one as well. I've definitely been there. So there's a few things that can flick you into survival mode or into procrastination mode or into any of those modes that I talked about before. Another one is if your body stays in survival mode. So I had a situation, I've spoken about this situation vaguely, but I don't think I'll ever be able, well, I might one day, hopefully one day I'll speak about it, but basically I had a situation that it was the scariest thing that ever happened to me in my life, and it put me in fight or flight. And I think I was in fight or flight for about 6 years. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, for 4 years or 5 years, this dragged on for. And then after that, I just could not get myself back into a normal, happy way of life. And I think that was in that time when I went to the beach. I think I was in that time. So, and I don't think people realize, like, you don't just switch back to happy, or you don't just switch back to how you were. You have to put yourself back into that calm space. You have to actively try and get yourself out of fight or flight, which is so draining. But that's why people go their whole lives. Like, when I worked in Costa, I used to see these men and like they'd be so miserable and obviously something has happened to them where they're in flight or flight and they just never get out of it. And people live like that for the rest of their lives. And it's just like, really? You're crazy. But people just don't know. So if you listen to this, you're a step ahead of most people. Most people try to fix their mindset, whereas in reality, you need to fix your nervous system. You've probably seen like chakras before. When people like talk about chakras, if you're into crystals and stuff like that, that's basically what it is. It's like aligning all your chakras together. So your, what am I talking about? Fuck knows. But you know what a chakra is. That's what we're going to align. So how do we get out of fight and flight? So how do we get out of fight and flight and get into that happy, calm space where everything feels like a fairy tale and everything just feels happy and lighter? How do you switch? And I see this all the time and it's crazy. Like Molly May, for example, I watch Molly May's vlog. I love Molly May's vlogs. Like, she's such an icon. But when she was going through that really, like, you know, she wasn't feeling herself and and then all of a sudden she switches back to like, oh, I feel much better now. I feel happier in myself. That's because your nervous system is calm. That's because you feel safe. And she was talking about like having baths and having time off work and all this kind of stuff, and like all those little things just completely change your nervous system to put you in a happier state. So people don't know that they're putting themselves back into that state, but there's so many things that you can do to get yourself out of that panic, overworked flight or flight and back into calm and happy and actually enjoying your life. So we're going to go through some of those now. These are like practical tools that you can use and they work. So I'm going to talk about quickly just one thing that you need to know in order to get your body into a better state is that your mind and your body are not connected. So your body reacts to what your brain tells it. So for example, you know, when you hear something and you get a drop in your belly, your brain will like process what has just been said and it will relate it to a bad thing, and then your brain will tell your body, oh, something bad is going on, and your body will do that like chemical reaction, and that is like cortisol, which is like the stress chemical in your body. So basically all you need to know is your brain and your body they're not the same thing. Like, your brain needs to tell your body to be safe and to be calm. So if your brain is all erratic and is panicking, and even though you're lying flat and you're lying horizontal and you feel calm, your body's listening to your brain. So your heart's beating faster and you get that anxious belly and stuff like that. So that's what I just wanted to point out. So this makes a little bit more sense. If you want me to do another episode on like how to link your body and your brain up together, because that is a whole nother world of stuff, but it's so interesting to learn about. Well, I think it's interesting anyway. So one of the techniques that I love to use for this, and I've spoken about this before, is breathing. So if you're anxious and if you're in a state of like panic and flight or flight, your breathing is fast. And this can really like wind up your body. This can really wind up your body and make your brain think that you're not safe and that there's something to panic about. So one thing that you can do is take control over your breath and over that state. So I spoke about this in a previous episode. I don't know which one it's called, but you basically want to breathe in through your nose for like 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 2, 1, 2, and then breathe out for 6. You want to make sure that you're breathing out longer than you're breathing in. And what this does is first of all, it stops the thoughts in your brain, because your brain is thinking about focusing on breathing and counting, which is so good. So it quiets your brain for a second, which we get so much information in a day. It won't hurt you to quiet your brain just for a second. So it quiets your brain. It also tells the body that you can slow the heart down, slow your heart rate down. We are not running from bears like in the Tudor times. We're not fighting. There's nothing going on. Like, I've seen that TikTok recently, and it's like when your body feels like it's going to war, but you're actually just sat there with a face mask on. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're dealing with. So breathe into your nose for 4, hold for 2, and then out for 6. And you can do this like 4 times, 5 times, especially if you're driving or something is winding you up. This is such a good way to interrupt that pattern and to just gain control again over your body, to stop it going into serious flight or flight. I say flight or flight, it's fight or flight, but hashtag dyslexia is coming in full swing, okay? Another way to calm your body and to calm your nervous system is nature. I fucking love nature, guys. I love being outside. I don't like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to the woods for hours on end and just like hugging trees. I have hugged trees plenty of times. I loved it, but I love it. But especially if you work from home, especially if you work in an office, especially if you don't get out very often, this nature is so calming and it's free. It's completely free. So people call this grounding, and it's basically where you can take your shoes and socks off and you can go and put your feet into the ground if you want to. Not my personal cup of tea. I'm not really one to get stuff on my feet. full stop. But I do like to get outside in nature and either wear headphones or don't listen to any music, just listen to the birds, sit on a rocking chair. Like, there's something so nice about just being outside, especially now that it's spring and the weather's getting so much nicer, guys. Like, life is worth living, ooh, 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 in the words of RJB. You can also, while you're outside, what I like to do is like a little exercise that just gets your brain away from all the noise and gets it into the world. I'm so passionate about getting out of your brain and into the world, into the moment. So one of the things that you can do is when you're grounding, you can list like 5 things that you can see, 5 things that you can smell, 5 things that you can touch, and it just makes your brain busy, but in a calm way, in a way that like makes you just get into the world. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, get out your head and get into the world. I can't say it enough. So that is called grounding, and that is called like calming your body, which is such a nice way to do it. If you feel overwhelmed with work, if you've got to make a big decision, if someone's pissing you off, go for a walk. Go for a walk. It's life-changing. Another way to reduce your nervous system, and to be honest, this is the reason why our nervous system is fucked, is because of our phones and the scrolling. And the last thing you want to do when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling stressed, or the first thing I want to do when I'm feeling stressed and feeling overwhelmed, is sit on my phone and sit on TikTok. Because when you sit on TikTok, it's like all of the stress that's in your brain gets focused onto something else, and your brain is only focusing on that. So in a way of like going outside and seeing 5 things that you can touch and feel, it's like that, but like a bad version. It's a bad version of focusing your brain on something, because one minute you could be crying, one minute you're finding something funny, next minute like you're stressed, next thing you get into a rabbit hole of like war and stuff like that, and it's just like it's too much for your brain to handle. So when that bit of your brain is fried out from all the information that you've been getting, I get it. Like, all you want to do is scroll on your phone just because you're so stressed and you're like, I'm just going to sit on TikTok for hours and forget about it. It makes you 100 times worse. It is the worst thing that you can do when you're already in fight or flight, because it just adds so much more information to your brain. And not forgetting the algorithm as well. Like, if the algorithm picks up on you like breaking up with your boyfriend or being depressed or being sad, best believe it's going to feed you more of that, which is just so bad for you. So this is one of the hardest ones, but don't doom scroll if you feel like you're in flight or flight. Like, activities you can do: go to B&M, get some colours, get a colouring book and do some colouring, or go for a drive and blast some music, or, you know, I love a garden centre, get to the garden centre, go for a walk. Please do. Even watch a film is better. Lock your phone in a drawer is better than scrolling on social media. Scrolling on social media is so bad. Like, it's so bad. Things that you can do to not let it get to that point, and these are the things that I do to help keep my nervous system calm and feeling safe. So number 1, when you wake up in the morning, do not go on your phone. Don't go on your phone. Get up, brush your teeth, start your makeup. Just don't go on your phone. Don't wake up and check your messages. Don't wake up and see who's messaged you. Like, just stay off your phone for as long as you can in the morning, and that makes you connect with your life before you connect with an artificial world. So it makes you think about what you want to do with your day, and it makes you think about you before you think about all these other people and all these other problems that have happened overnight. So number 1 is a little trick that you can do is either charge your phone in a different room or put it over the other side of the room. Just don't go on your phone in the morning. So what I do is I wake up in the morning and I get out of bed, I leave my phone on charge, and obviously I'm very lucky that I live on my own, so I'll leave my phone up in my bedroom, come downstairs, I tidy from the night before, load the dishwasher. I'm probably down here for like an hour potching, lighting candles, just getting myself into like a nice state before I go onto my phone and see what's happened. And even then, like, I just try and stay off it. Like, I'll either go on a dog walk, or I don't really like the sooner you start flicking, the worse your flicking is going to be all day. So number 1, stay off your phone in the mornings. Number 2 is, if I feel overwhelmed, or if I feel like I've got a big decision to make, or if I feel stressed, and I've spoken about this, is a little gratitude list. It doesn't have to be a lot. just make yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and take it up to your bed or sit in your living room, wherever you can sit, and just write without any distractions, without any phones, without any radios, whatever. Just write like 5 things that you're grateful for. And like as you're sitting there thinking about all the things that you're grateful for, your brain creates like a thought pattern of like, this is going to be a good day. This is going to be a really good day. Like, this is going to be a good day. On the topic of this is going to be a good day, I've mentioned this before as well, but maybe playing like a little like morning meditation or like a morning gratitude list. Like if you type in on YouTube like morning gratitude or and like anything like that, it can really start your day off well, because your brain is put in the right place before your body takes over with the fight or flight. Does that make sense? You don't want to just wait until you're overwhelmed to just deal with what's going on. You can just slow that down. Just have a more peaceful, happy life, which I think is what we're all after, really, in a world of flicking and overwhelm and a world of fight or flight. I would say, like, I want to Google how many people are in fight or flight, because I feel like it's a lot. I feel like it's all of us. So if you've been feeling like you just can't enjoy the little things in life, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need to give your nervous system a bit of TLC, which is obviously everything we've spoken about today. And yeah, don't feel bad. And it is something that can be fixed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that made you maybe understand yourself a little bit. It helped me so much when I found out about this. And I hope you're enjoying the sunshine, if it's sunny today. And any more podcast ideas, please let me know. Obviously, I can yap about whatever I want to yap about, but it just helps me knowing what you guys want to hear about. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you next week. Love you with all my heart.